This is Seth Gerber. He has a new film out, The 1916 Project. It's very powerful. Here shortly, we're going to look at the trailer. If you want to watch the movie, you can see it at Angel Studios, but they're going to want you to join a members. It's like, I think the cheapest one is $20 a month, or you can get the higher packages and things of this nature. I think there's one package you can get where you'll get free tickets to new movies that they have out. But the 1916 Project is exposing the hidden agendas of Planned Parenthood, the spiritual conflict in our culture. And if you don't think that there's not a spiritual conflict in our culture, something is wrong with you and you are delusional. The problem, Christians, it's not just Donald Trump getting elected and he's going to be able to fix everything. He's going to be able to fix a lot, yeah. But if you're not getting out and voting, and we have sat back and allowed the left, more or less, not necessarily the liberals, but the liberal left, we have allowed them to infiltrate us from within and create this kind of environment that we're talking about boys going in girls' bathrooms, boys playing in women's and girls' sports, children being mutilated because a lot of kids are depressed. But you have this leftist agenda to destroy our children, to kill our children before they are even born. Last year, we had 1 million abortions. 1 million abortions. I watched a video today of a guy walking around Chicago going to he was interviewing the people. His name is Nick Johnson. He has a YouTube channel. And he was walking down the street where people were lined up to see a Kamala Harris rally where Obama was there and Eminem. Okay. So he's interviewing these people, and that's the whole video. It's him just asking them questions. I mean, he wasn't confrontational with them. He wasn't giving his opinion. And I respected that. And he is, for all practical purposes, it seems like watching his channel, he is a Trump supporter. But he was getting a feel of why are these people voting for Kamala Harris? And it was quite astounding to me. A lot of them, most of them, couldn't give, or if not all, couldn't give a reason. Maybe I shouldn't say it that way, a reason for voting for her. But like if he asked them a question about what her policies are, they have nothing. They had nothing but the left media talking points. Believing that he's a dictator or he's a fascist, and this kind of thing, and then bringing up productive rights and this kind of stuff. I think he asked almost every one of them, how do you feel like the country's doing right now? And 90% of them said they thought it was fine, but we could do better. I was just astounded. What is going on? Are they not buying the same groceries we are? Are they not filling up their car with gas the same as we are? Are they not listening to what's happening in our schools, to our children, to the libraries in the schools for our children? Having what is it? Wanting to read to our children, having story time with these trans people. It's insanity, and it's demonic, and we've We've allowed it. And this movie, it's a documentary. It's going to and it is just amazing. Now, I haven't watched the whole movie. Now, I am going to play a trailer, and I have some excerpts. And this guy, he's the one that put it together. And he is so smart and brilliant. And I was searching for stuff about this. There's not a lot of people covering it. And I thought, my goodness, I seen one video where he says that this documentary is going to change everything and, help Trump get elected and things like that. But what I want to see is this video wakes people up. If not, God's already hardened their hearts and they're never going to change and they're going to believe the lie and still remain delusional. It's Officer Tatum had a video on the 1916 project. If y'all want to go look at Officer Tatum's YouTube channel. Now, I didn't watch his coverage of it, but he did have one he did a few months ago. And that's just one out of millions of people that are on YouTube. But Christians, you need to not sit back. You can't sit back and say anybody but Trump. You really have to look at the policies and what are they promoting. You had the DNC had an abortion mobile clinic outside their rally, their DNC rally. I don't know. I asked Lord, what is going on? Why is this just the sign of the times? Is this how things, we're going to sit back and go, well, this is how things are supposed to happen? Or we can at least stand up and say no more. The stuff that's going on in Florida that they're fixing to vote on right now is very serious. Very serious stuff. Go Google it. Go research what they're fixing to vote on as far as abortion is concerned, where they're going to take away the parental rights. They don't have to be notified to or give the rights to the parent to stop their daughter from having an abortion. Instead of talking about abortion, and this is another thing, instead of just talking about abortion, because if it's just rape and incest, it's such a minute. Of course, you had 1 million abortions last year. What? All of those were rape, incest, health of the mother? I highly doubt it. No. No way, not even close. It's just another form of birth control because people aren't taking responsibility for their actions. So instead of toting, well, abortion for an alternative, why are they not really, really hammering down in schools abstinence? There's consequences for these acts that you do that cause the problem. You wait till you're married. Abstinence. Teach. We could go on and on and on about what they should be teaching kids at school, especially about balancing a budget and running up debt because Americans, we're just in debt. We're overweight. We're aborting our children. There's some basic fundamental things that we could be doing to help our children when they are adults or they're young adults or they're becoming in their own being a teenager, and that they need to practice abstinence, practice balancing a checkbook, practice running a business. All of this stuff. It's just basic. It's pretty basic stuff. Have shame. Don't wear things that are so outrageous. I don't even want to get started about tattoos. I see a lot of Christian people with tattoos. I don't understand it. I have family members that have tattoos. I don't know. I think it's, to me, tattoos are kind of tribal. I mean, when I was a kid, y'all remember watching Wild Kingdom and all these other programs on National Geographic. Now, I'm old, so back in the 70s, we'd watch these documentaries and stuff where they'd be in some jungle area and they would show these natives there with bones through their nose, through their face, tattoos on them, and then the guy's talking like, yeah, they're getting these tattoos because it's a rite of passage and it's spiritual for them. And they were pagans. So maybe this is what's deterred me from getting tattoos, because I'm like, this is, every time I think of tattoos, I'm thinking back of this stuff I learned when I was a kid about why these people got tattoos and stuff, and it was for ritual purposes. Well, my monologue's a little long, but I did want to cover a lot of that, and I think what he's fixing to say here, it's very profound. It's very moving. And let's hear Seth Gerbert, and he is on a panel discussing the 1916 Project.
Taking children from the homes of Americans who are gender confused, and if one or either parent are not affirming of their minor's gender delusion, and a Faustian, follow the science little communist determines that one or both parents is a mental health risk to their child through their non-gender affirming attitudes, then the state can take your kid. That bill has been signed in California, in the state of Washington, and also by Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's new VP mate. This legislation is now starting to sweep the nation. Those who murder the unborn cannot be trusted to govern the born. And those who murder the unborn will one day murder you too, the longer you tolerate the sacrament of Satan. So until Christians recognize that politicians are not coming to save us anytime soon, that Jesus Christ is not coming on Air Force One, that it will take a rebirth of Christian resistance at the local level, that none of this changes. G.K. Chesterton was one of the most articulate, vocal, and loud opponents to Sanger and her ilk and friends in eugenicists in the early 20th century. And he said something so prophetic, I have to share it with you today, because it's the solution out of all of this mess. Anyone disappointed by the GOP and the RNC? I am. Here's what Chesterton said. He said, the business of progressives is to keep on making mistakes. The business of conservatives is to prevent the mistakes being corrected. Even when the revolutionist might repent of his revolution, the traditionalist is already defending that as a part of his tradition. Thus, we have the two great types. The advanced person who rushes us into ruin, Kamala Harris, and the retrospective person who admires the ruins. Is that not an excellent description of the conservative movement in America, the Republican Party, and the weak, wimpy, woke Andy Stanleys and Rick Warrens who care more about being invited to Davos by Klaus Schwab than they do about standing for righteousness and pure and undefiled religion. Until the church realizes that we're going to do a heck of a lot more than voting to get out of this mess, nothing will change.
Wow. That was incredibly accurate, true, and moving. This guy, y'all have got to see his movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing it as well. But he's right. I mean, we've sat on the sidelines. We've allowed things to happen, and it's a crying shame. And what do they say in California? Well, California goes, it sweeps across the country. They've allowed this bill, Gavin Newsom. We've allowed this. California's allowed this. We need a serious revival, a seriousness of coming up and saying we don't want this anymore. And he's right. We can't count on them if they don't care about the unborn. They don't care about our children. Shoot, they're going to come start killing us. I mean, they've been talking about off yourself bills. It's insane. And who's to say that could go even a step further, that the state could just do it? The state could just do it, and I don't think it's too far-fetched. Of the insanity, 1 million babies were killed last year, 2023, and I was saying earlier that not all of those would have been, RAPE and incest or health of the mother. 1 million? So there was 1 million of those incidents? No. Again, I'm going to reinstate that they are just using this as another way of birth control. It's sad and pathetic. And we haven't even I didn't even touch upon a baby's being born. And then they just set it to the side. And it's still alive. And then they got to discuss what to do with it. I don't know how these people live with themselves. This documentary, the 1916 Project, what he's doing is he did so much research and connecting the dots of when it started, when it infiltrated the culture. Because they weren't going to win it by... nothing is blatant. Remember when the libs and the left, they always hid, dodge, and then slowly implement. Now it's just in your face because they've done it systematically to where it seems, well, it has become acceptable. Obviously. If we're sitting here having a discussion on if a 5, 10, 15-year-old can take puberty blockers and then go mutilate themselves where they can never, ever have children again and have to and suffer in agony for the rest of their life because then they realize, oh, I made a mistake. And most of them do. Most of them do. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. But what he's doing is connecting the dots of when it started, how they have manipulated and infiltrated because they are the enemy within. What is the best way to dismantle a society and replace it with something else is from destroy it from within. Destroy our values, because there's no values. We're groveling about, people grovel, and the majority would want the 10 Commandments in schools. Our laws mostly are based on the 10 Commandments in the Bible. Why have we let a minority of people stand up and fuss and gripe about having the 10 Commandments up? Because if there's morality, if there's morals, if there's guidance, people won't stand for this mess because it's wrong. It's completely wrong. Now, I'm going to play that. This is a clip. It's a short of him talking about the movie.
How did we get here? Over 65 million murdered unborn children in America since 1973. Gender-confused adolescents mutilating themselves at the applause of our federal government. Pro-life sidewalk counselors being arrested. Parents who speak at school board meetings being labeled domestic terrorists by the federal government. We're all asking the same question right now, aren't we? How did we get here? What bred this culture of death that is targeting my children and my family? What happened to the Christendom that I knew and the robust family culture in America? The answer is that things happen gradually, then suddenly. The disciples of the New York Times 1619 Project and our journalistic and cultural betters would have you believe that the systemic ills that we're experiencing now in America are the result of racist colonizer. How did we get here?
65 million babies have been aborted since it became legal. That's generations upon generations upon generations of American citizens that we would have today. Their children, their children's children, their grandchildren. It is heartbreaking. It is shocking. It is disturbing. And I don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand. And like he said, how did we get here? Free abortions on demand? Do we want the government paying for this? You need to be voting. You know what I'd love to see is Jordan Peterson doing a breakdown or a review or his intellect and insight on this documentary. Because I know Jordan Peterson he's all about history and the evilness of history because he studied it. He studied what evil men do. The narcissists, the 5 triads he talks about, sociopaths, narcissists. There's a couple. I'm sorry if I can't spout them off on the top of my head, but you get the idea. He has the 4 or 5 triads of characteristics of evil people throughout history. And studying the psychology of this mindset. So how did we get to here? Is because we have evil people who want to do evil things. I don't understand it, but it is a fact, and that's what they're doing. But I would love to hear him break this down because this movie, he starts from the beginning. When did it start? The guy who wrote the first book, who started promoting this type of an agenda that has slowly led us to today. Again, how did we get here? We need to understand how we get here. Now, this documentary is not like explosions and car chases and all of this stuff. This is serious stuff. And these people who have infiltrated this, the enemy from within, from 1916, 1619, whatever, they've had an agenda. And it doesn't even matter if they didn't get to see the fruitions of their labor, if they died or not, because of these generations that have gone by and somebody else picked up the torch and kept it going. I mean, I think these people would want us to have like a one world government where we're being controlled. They've talked about it. Even Bush Sr. brought it up in one of his union addresses years ago, and I was like, whoa, he was like one of the first politicians I heard just say in his union address about a new world order. So this is in the plans. This is what they want, is us to be controlled by one governing body, and that we're all the same and it's all feel good, you know. It's bizarre how it all ties into each other. But the fascinating thing is we need to understand how we got here, understand the enemy. Just like Jordan Peterson, he studied the evilness of the past because you learn from it. Pol Pot, Stalin, Hitler, all of these people who've done horrendous, heinous, unspeakable things. And Jordan Peterson does an eloquent job of bringing the psychology the psychosis of these people and breaking it down. I would love to see him do this with this film because I love listening to him. I do not get bored listening to him. He is fabulous. So let's check out the trailer to the Project 19 trailer.
What Christians often don't understand in the culture wars and in the fight for life is that abortion is not just one issue among many. Abortion is almost the linchpin upon which the liberal establishment swings. But what happens when you pull out a linchpin? The door falls off.
It takes a long time to go from a few intellectuals believing some bad ideas to bringing those ideas into the culture more and more and more until they bear fruit. The answer how we got here is because of the silence and inaction of the church.
Somebody might say, well, Margaret Sanger, she didn't quite know exactly what she was doing. Well, first of all, you're speaking from ignorance because she wrote about herself and she wrote what her plans were, so much so that she, impressed Adolf Hitler. How do you impress Hitler?
My father walks up to me wearing a BLM shirt and he says to me, why are you out here fighting a white man's issue? But he was a walking poster child for all things CRT, because in critical race theory, you see racism in all things and at all times. Even when a 6'4", 260-pound black man is trying to save a baby.
We're going to expose and discover who the real Margaret Sanger was and how her attack and assault against the family in America explains our current culture of death and upside-down world that we're living in today. This is where it all started. It was here that Sanger opened up her first unlicensed, illegal birth control clinic in 1916.
Study the past, not just to understand what happened then, but to understand what's happening now.
This is a Leviathan. Doc Howe. It's a fitting place to remember what happens when bad ideas are taken to their logical conclusion.
We bless the holy name of Jesus and we shout, let the baby live. Let the baby live. Let the baby live.
Stop waiting for someone else to grow a righteous culture of life for you and on your family's behalf. It will not happen. If not you, who? If not now, when?
I can't emphasize enough to go and support this documentary film. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It's just incredible. Did y'all see that when the guy was saying about the Margaret Sanger, like we didn't know, maybe she didn't know what she was doing, but he said she wrote about it. Here it is. Look, sterilization of the unfit. So to the elitists, we're all unfit because obviously it just didn't. Margaret Sanger, we know for a fact that it was in the black neighborhoods that she set up shop. So her initial thing was she was trying to sterilize and exterminate the black population because she's an elitist, a leftist, a fascist who wants to get rid of the unfit. But guess what now, ladies and gentlemen? We are all unfit because what is the Democrat Party? Kamala Harris's campaign has been nothing but abortion. My God. It's disturbing. Like I said, when I was watching Nick Johnson's video and he was asking these people stuff, they are delusional. Their heart is hardened. They are blind. They don't have Christ in their life, obviously. And look, I'm going to say it. I don't think you could be a Christian and be be a Democrat. You can't. And look, Republicans are guilty too. And as he said in that other video, that aren't we disappointed with the Republican Party? Yes, I am. Because the libs have done a way better job of pushing their agenda, pushing the propaganda. Because look, if you say a lie enough, it becomes the truth. The church is at fault. You know, I'm always saying, I listened to the radio this morning, and I did. I was listening to the radio this morning. And the guy said on the radio, it was fascinating. He was talking about pastors across the country. They feel like they might lose everything, lose their congregation, lose funding if they preach the truth. I don't know. Is there a level in Dante's Inferno for the pastors and preachers who misled their flock? Is there a level in hell for them? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there to give you the concept of how I'm feeling about it is that they're in super duper danger with God because you didn't step up to the plate when maybe at first you had the calling to go and preach God's word, preach Jesus's word, but you have misled your flock because you want some kind of feel-good church so people will come in and give you money so the church will prosper. Look, we want the church to prosper. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if they're afraid to preach the truth, they need to stand up and preach the truth. Preach the word that has been given to them. So their sheep are not misled into darkness. Because why do we have so many people who are blind that they're going to vote for Kamala Harris? I know we all have freedom of choice. We may lose that if we continue to elect these leftists. And look, she is the most leftist person. God, she's more blatantly left than Obama. And yeah, lately she's been trying to be an eccentric, a moderate rather, eccentric moderate, which she seems to find it, if y'all hear her talking, because she's not. If somebody's lying, it's harder to speak. You can tell by the rhythm of their speak. If they're just dancing around when she's flip-flopping on, no, I'm against fracking, and then now she's for it. But you get the point. If you go back and you start listening to all the things that she says, that she's trying to be moderate, she struggles. Because she doesn't even believe what she's saying. You have to pay attention to these things. It's important. Elections matter. And this is why elections matter, from your local elections to the big election. They matter. If these things, if these things matter to you, these things should matter to you. They should matter to you, or something's wrong with you. I don't want to just preach to the choir. Pray about it. This beautiful earth that we live in was created by a God. There's no other explanation. The proof is when you walk outside your door. Look up to the stars. It's amazing. DNA. We're all unique. We all are self-aware. Why is that? Hey, look, if there wasn't any spiritual beings, then why is the left more demonic spirituality? Because they know there is. And they want the power. And I'm not a crazy, I don't consider myself like a crazy conspiracy theorist kind of person. We are spiritual beings. They know this. Look at the collider. Maybe they want to open a portal. Maybe they do. They're doing crazy things. But anyway, look at that. Sterilization of the unfit. Now we're all unfit. Not just a minority. Not just a minority. Because we've had 1 million last year out of 65 million aborted babies since this whole thing started. 65 million? I've said this before that I wonder, I think of things that how, Lord, I ask for Lord to bless us, but then my mind's going, Lord, I'm doubtful you can bless us if we continue to do this. If we continue to do this, how is our beautiful country, which is founded on Christianity, founded on values, founded on the commandments, that the left literally feels like the Constitution that was written for the people is an obstacle in their way? So guess what? If we do become a one world globalist economy umbrella, then the Constitution is gone. They will create something new because they want to turn the page. And even Obama started this. We want to move forward. We're going to turn the page. I am going to transform America. Even his wife said, I never was prouder to be in America than I am today when her husband got elected. How can you love something, say you love something, and then fundamentally want to change it? Why do you want to change America? America is phenomenal. It is an untested thing that has been done for the first time in history. A project, if you will, America is a science project that's never been done. For the people, by the people. We elect our officials. We don't have a king. We don't have a dictator. We have laws. We have judges. We have branches of government. Is it perfect? No, but everybody in the world wants to come here. So everybody wants to come here, but yet, why do you want to change it? Why would you want to change it? Ask yourself this question. Why would you want to change it? If you were married and you said you loved your wife or you loved your husband, but you want to change them, then you never really loved them in the first place because you would think you fell in love with who they are. So why would you change it? Now, that's not my line. I heard that from what's his name? Forgive me, I have brain farts. Anyway, I heard that the other day, and I thought that was just a phenomenal thing to relate it to, equate it to. Is that why Obama was the first person I ever heard to say he wanted to watch, we're going to fundamentally change America. And guess what? They have been since him. He started it. And everybody thought, wow, this guy is awesome and we're going to vote for him and he's going to make what changes did he make? Not for the good, people. Not for the good. Things have gotten worse. Then Trump comes along. We had 4 years of proven leadership of peace, controlling the border. Proven record. Proven. Here comes Kamala and Biden. They went so far left, they were more left than Obama. Because they're slowly breaking this down, just like he said in this video. It didn't happen overnight. It's been a steady chip away, in your face. I mean, if you see something enough, you come desensitized from it. So are we just desensitized? Why are we not boycotting Disney? Yeah, I said it. They've been indoctrinating our children. I tell my family members, stop supporting them. The woke agenda in all their programming. It's outrageous. Stop it. It's our fault. I had somebody say to me, well, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? When I said, yeah, you shouldn't be watching these shows with your children, I suggested it. I didn't tell them. I just said, hey, this movie has an agenda. These shows have an agenda. Well, it's everywhere. It's kind of hard. No, it's not hard. It's not hard. You have to take a stand. Because you can't be lukewarm. You have to pick a side. And you need to pick a side. Now, I'm not perfect. We're all flawed. But we have to make an effort for ourselves, our eyes, our ears, and our children's future. Please go support this movie. Watch it. It's important. And by all means, Christians out there, and if you're not a Christian, start doing some research. Start soul searching. Figure it out. You can have your own personal relationship with God. You don't have to go. You don't have to go and be in some charismatic church that you're going to be uncomfortable and they're all jumping up and down or whatever, right? Which is fine if they do, but I am just saying, you can have your own personal relationship with your Creator and with Jesus. You can thank the 15th century or 16th century, forgive me if I've got that millennium wrong, Martin Luther. This is what happened between the Catholic Church. They went after him because he said, hey, you don't need the Catholic Church. You have every man, woman on the planet has their own personal relationship with their Creator. So don't feel uncomfortable that you think you have to go to a church. Soul search, study the Bible, read, pray about it. And if the Lord sends you to a good church, then amen, brother. Amen, sister. Go support the movie.